What up, Uncensored Nation? As always, we start this mother freaker off by saying thank you to all the companies that make this podcast possible. Just letting you know, this is how this fucking show's starting off. Yeah, we want to say thank you. All seriousness, though, we want to really say thank you to all the companies that, help us make this show possible. It's a lot, and we really do appreciate their help. So first and foremost, we want to thank Yellow Jacket for being a rock since day one of this podcast. Me and Kelley really cannot thank them enough over there. It's been awesome. We want to thank Better Air. Definitely go check out Better Air, man. Guys, they're revolutionizing the IAQ game. It's really, really crazy. True Tech Tools. If you guys do not know, go over to True Tech Tools, and if you use the code Uncensored, you get 8% off your order. They're great people over there. They have the best selection of HVAC tools you can imagine. And last but not least, it's going to be our friends over at Service Titan. That partnership is kind of at its infancy, but I see it moving forward in the future once we get a few roadblocks out of the way. But yes, we want to say thank you to all of them. Me and Kelley sincerely appreciate you guys, and we cannot wait to see where this relationship goes moving forward. But enough of that. We already paid the bills. Let's go.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States of America. God bless all of our listeners abroad. On to the show.
If you're trying to take your HVAC game to the next level, then buckle your seatbelt, crank up the volume, and try not to be offended, because you're listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast with Gil Cavey and Kelley McKay. Now, here's Gil and Kelley.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 86 of the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil Cavey Jr., sitting alongside my buddy old pal, Mr. Kelley McKay. What is up, man?
What's going on, man?
I don't know, man. I can't fucking talk. My body hurts. Like, I'm getting
You're
old,
sore.
Kelley. What's going on?
Yeah.
Fucking
there's a lot of that going around right now.
Yeah, it's a crazy summer, man, especially with all like the COVID bullshit. And then, and I know it's not just us, a lot of people, we just kind of went from like 0 to 100 in no time. It went from like all sitting around with our fingers in our ass. Are we going to work? Do I have a job? Oh, hey, come back. Here's 25 calls, like.
Right.
Like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt that I hope everyone's killing it out there. I hope you got a lot of momentum behind you right now. What can happen, what I've seen happen, and what I've made the mistake of and let happen is that, and it's hard. It's really hard for this not to happen. And I know Gil can talk to this, is that the excitement of summer hits you. And like you get excited. It's like, hey, all right, boys, it's go time. And girls, it's go time. So you get out there and you're like, it's time to crush it. And then you start knocking down some sales, and the sales start coming a lot easier than what they were. You just came out of a slow season where you're fighting tooth and nail and bidding against chucking a truck. And now it's like, they don't even want a second bid. They just want it done yesterday. And so, it's really easy to let that excitement to just like mow you down because you don't even realize it. And then all of a sudden you're 2.5 weeks into summer and you're petering out, and you don't have any energy left, and you don't have any gas left in the tank. And this is a really common thing. I saw it happen this year, with all of my guys. And I know I know a lot of you guys are feeling the same way. So, we have to, although we all have momentum and it's all going good and we're trying to break new records, with our revenues each month, we still have to be careful with that. We still gotta, we gotta be able to cruise the rest of the summer. I mean, you can only go pedal to the metal so long, the engine's going to overheat. You've got to be able to cruise a little bit and catch your breath. All the chaos that happened in the beginning that you probably weren't prepared for, we've got to fix that because we don't want to go the rest of summer. We still got a couple more months of summer here. Don't think that you're so damn busy that you can't stop for a moment, fix some shit, then move forward. Don't just keep doing the same shit and creating havoc and chaos in your company, because you're gonna wind up, people get frustrated. And also when people get tired, they get angry and they get snippy, and and it's just a natural thing. It's not personal, but it just happens. So in order to stop that from happening, to have, people getting nasty with each other or saying things they don't mean, like, we have to fix the things that create the most frustration in our companies. And like I said, don't think for a second that you're so damn busy you can't stop for a moment. Pull the whole company in a meeting. Take 20 minutes in the morning, pull the whole company. Okay, here's the problem we got. Let's fix it right now. We got the rest of the summer. Let's make the most out of this summer. And in order to do that, we got to fix some things. So be sure that you slow down, take a breath for a moment. Don't just think that you're so busy that, I can't stop for a second. I got to go do the next call. Because as you get more and more exhausted, the less and less efficient everybody becomes. And then mistakes start happening all over the place.
Yeah, well, this time of year, we all get it. And all technicians that have been doing this for any little bit of time, we all understand that this time of year, it's go time. We all know we're going to be busy. We get that. But I do think sometimes as managers or owners, we got to make sure that we can't press the gas too hard, because we get excited, just like the technicians do. Like, yes, we can finally make some fucking money. Rock and roll, yep. Keep taking these calls, blah, blah, blah. But you learn over time. One thing that I think is really big that has helped us is that constant morale check on the team. Hey, man, I just wanted to let you know I appreciate you, buddy. You're doing an awesome job. Hey, man, I know you worked like fucking 75 hours last week, man. I'm going to put extra $250 in your check, dude. I appreciate you, man. Here, why don't you get lunch on me today? Just little things like that. Like we did it today. We put it in Service Titan, hey, lunch is on the office today or whatever. Just bring in your receipt and we'll give you the cash back for lunch because some of the guys didn't come to the office. Just little things, because even though we know we're going to be busy, summer's coming, it hits you like a ton of bricks, even when you know what to expect. Like we said, with your bodies, normally the first couple of weeks, you have that adjustment period. But I'll be honest, man, every year gets a little bit harder because I don't know why, man. Like maybe it's because of some of my health.
You're another year older. That's why.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if maybe it's because of some of my health issus or whatever.
Could be.
But,
yeah.
But this year, man, like my body has been fucking feeling it, bro. Like I've never felt it like this. But regardless, I got to do what I got to do. It is what it is. But I just know the guys, when they get frustrated, when I try to, even though we're busy, I still try to take the time to let them know that we're still here for them. You got to talk to me. Like I still tell them, hey guys, I want you to take a half an hour lunch break. Sit in your truck and play on your phone, just take your fucking lunch break. Take a little bit of time. The calls are going to be there. We'll get to them. And one thing I like to do is, I want to try to limit so many calls in a day, because I don't want a guy to get, and we've done it. I'm not going to say that we haven't, where a guy gets crushed, where he's seen his schedule for the day, especially with Service Titan, maybe say he's got 6-7 calls. So he already knows fuck, this day is going to suck. And something happens where he happens to knock those calls out and it's 6 o'clock, 6:30. And then all of a sudden he gets done his last call and another call pops up.
Right.
Then the guys start to feel like they're getting punished because they were efficient in their calls. You know what I mean? So it's we kind of got to have that. It's hard. It's kind of a tugging you back and forth. Is you need to make as much money as you can, but at the same time, you can't kill your guy. So it's what do you do? Do you do it a little bit, just not all the time? I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Well, with our weather, and I think your weather is a lot like ours, I think it would be more difficult when you're further south, you know, like where it's just 100 degrees day after day after day after day after day. Like it's not that way here. You know, we've had some 85-degree days. Yeah, the humidity was up quite a bit. It felt pretty damn hot, like way hotter than 85, but it's still not 100. And so we've had, you know, ups and downs, and that, I guess, with the weather. And because of that, our schedule does fluctuate a little bit, you know. That first initial wave, yes, it's usually the guy who's on call. The guy who's on call has been working anywhere from 65 to 75 hours because we keep getting calls coming in over, you know, after hours, and we get later calls in the day that are something that if they choose to pay an after hours fee, we'll go ahead and book it for later that night whenever we finish, you know. So we have to do we have to just go get it while we can. This is the business we're in. Everyone understands it. Everyone knows that we have to work late hours when the getting is good, when it's, you know, it's time to go, literally just like the farmers right now. You know, it's time to go collect it's time to harvest. It's harvest season. Well, in HVAC, it's the same way. It's harvest season. The main thing is just to pace yourself. Don't, you know, in the mornings, you know, you might have a little bit more energy because you got a good night's sleep. And so you might, you know, really hustle through those first few calls, and you wind up burning out a little early. To where the end of the day, and then the calls don't stop coming. That's where it can get you in trouble. So it's just a case of, you know, maintaining your inner kingdom. You know, don't let frustration get to you. Don't let another call coming in overwhelm you. Just do what you can do, because, like I've said 100 times, the investor dude says it. He says, all you can do is all you can do. As long as you do all you can do, it's enough. So just do what you can do. Who is it? Al Williams? What is his name? I can't remember his damn name. Oh, my general manager just loves him. Art Williams. Yeah. All you can do is all you can do. As long as you do all you can do, it's enough. So main thing is pace yourself. And we do our best to try to, you know, with the guy on call, they just get off of a week doing 75 hours where we're not trying to work him late for the next 3 business days. Like, let him go home before everyone else and let him get some rest and be with his family a little bit. I don't know. So you just have to kind of rotate that. You got to always keep that into consideration. So you got to keep your hand on the pulse, or whatever the saying is, your eye on the prize. You've got to rotate people in and out of long hours.
Yeah, I guess it's, what about those small guys that you don't have a rotation? There's, you know, you kind of, maybe you got 4 guys, all 4 guys on deck. It's just,
that's why it's hard to be small.
Yeah, that's why
that's why you got to, okay, with those guys, here's my best advice is you need to be talking about the vision of where you're going. And how you're going to get there each and every day.
That's what I was going to say. Communication has to be, well, for anybody, communication has to be key right now, because, and the biggest tip I can give all you techs out there, excuse me. And we all, you know, when you go into that call and the people aren't going to spend any money, when you just kind of get those vibes from the people, they're not going to spend any money by the things that they say. Guys, you need to get into these calls. And I was just telling some of the guys today, you need to get into these calls, diagnose them, figure out what's going on, and present a price to them, you know, as quickly as possible, obviously as correctly as possible. But get some numbers in front of them. You know, if something happens where you find something else, then stop and go, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I know you approved all this, but I found this while I was digging a little bit more. But what I mean is that way you're going to get some numbers in front of that customer of what you see, and they're going to yes or no. And if they know, okay, collect that diagnostic, move the fuck on. Time is precious. Time is valuable. Don't sit there wasting it, BS and talking about their kids and like this. Hey, I'm a talker, but this is not the time for that. Okay. And I know some people are pushing, like we're still doing PMs right now because of, which sucks that I got a guy doing fucking PMs and not no AC calls. But this time of year, it's all about fucking efficiency, guys and gals. Okay. It's getting as much done as you can get done correctly. All right. Yes, we want our customers to be happy, but they get it. If this was in the springtime and my guys had, 5 PMs a day, I don't care if you sit there and talk to the customer for fucking hour and a half or whatever, and you do a really good job and a thorough job, and you talk about fucking their kid playing baseball and shit like that. Now I want you to get in, fix that motherfucker, get paid, move on. And that's got to be the cycle. Like you guys might not realize, but how we pay the bills majority of the year, it's made in a couple of months span. This helps to pay for the, when it drops off in the fall and the phone's not ringing and you guys are doing PMs and, there's not a bunch of revenue coming in. So
that doesn't stop the bills coming in.
Exactly. And the other thing is, and I've proved this I have sold every customer that I have been to in the last 3 weeks who did not have a service contract. I sold one to. All you have to do is offer it. Guys, yeah, you're busy now and maybe you're not worried about it. But when you get slow, that's what keeps you fucking working, people. Those things are huge. Even if you don't even, me and Kelley have already talked about the business side. I won't even get into that. But the technician side, that's what's going to get you hours, okay? That's what's going to put food on your table when times get slow. Okay? You need to be thinking about that now. So, I don't know.
It's vitally important, yeah. Well, back to the momentum thing. It's actually Newton's first law. It's known as the law of inertia. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion unless something stops their momentum. So think of it like this whole year, right? I mean, this year just started off so difficult. It's like the merry-go-round was just full of all your friends, your family, your relatives. Like they're all in the merry-go-round, and you hear that one guy trying to push the damn merry-go-round, and it's hard as hell to get moving. But after you get it moving and you push and you push and you start building some momentum. Well, then you can actually step back and it actually runs and it spins by itself now. You don't have to push it all the time. You don't have to run next beside it. You might jump on the merry-go-round once in a while and just ride it with them. And then you can jump back out and then maybe push a little bit more. So we just want to make sure that we keep the momentum going, even when the summer. I know we've got 2 whole months. Some of you guys out there, like, you got 3 months still ahead of you of summer. Here, where Gil's at and where I'm at, a lot of times for the last several 5 or 6 summers, by the second week in August, our summer is about over. Like the weather starts turning back down to 85, 80, 75, and then we might have a couple of 90-degree days and then it's gone. And then it's time to move into fall and get started on fall PMs. But so you've got momentum, just keep it going. Make sure to fix things. And as far as what Gil was saying about the technicians, I know about a couple of weeks ago, I know this is wrong and everything inside of me says I don't want to do it, but we just don't have a choice. If you don't have enough people where you can only do what you were talking about, do the 4, 5, 6 calls a day, and that's all you do. Like if you don't have enough people to do that and you've got 30 calls you got to get done in a day and you got 4 techs or 5 techs, or say 35 calls, whatever. You get what I'm saying here. There comes a time where, yes, you have to offer the maintenance agreement every time, but you don't have time to do full blown option sheets. You don't have time. We've got to get to the next customer. We've got to get to the warranty customer that we put a new system in January, who isn't cooling for whatever reason. They never changed their filter since you left, right? That's when everybody calls. So a lot of us have already been through that, because summer's already here. It's definitely here, and we've already been through that. But on those hot spurts, I mean, the first initial wave is over, but there will be more waves to come where we have that 100-degree day, 105-degree day, or multiple days in a row where it's extremely hot and the phones start blowing up again. When that happens, we have to get to as many people as we can, because we got to keep our customers happy. So it's unfortunate. I wish that, I could just add 8 technicians every summer and they could make so much money. They could just take the winters off and I could just keep, a few on hand for the winter, but it just doesn't work that way. So unfortunately, during these months, we do have to work the later hours. We do have to work harder because that's when it's there.
Well, this is where it comes at what we talked about last week when we say taking care of your bodies. If you've been in this trade for any amount of time, we know what we're getting ourselves into. We know what to expect. So I hate it when guys that have been in the trade for a couple of years, are like, man, this is so bad. It's like, dude, you've been doing this for 15 years. Like, what did you think was going to happen? Don't, and this is another thing we said a bunch of times, don't be that guy that is bitching that when it's slow, and now when it's busy, you're bitching that you're working too much. If you want to be, go fishing every weekend in the summer, and you want to do this, then maybe this trade's not for you. That's just the honest truth. There's, a lot of things I'd like to do with my kids that I've had to miss out on. But I make it up to them in other ways.
And whether anyone agrees or I should say, even if you disagree, I don't really care, because it was always frowned upon when I worked for somebody else. It's still frowned upon now that I own my own company, is that, it's all hands on deck in the summer. I know that I can't stop people from taking off. I know some companies actually do. They put it in their policies, in their guidelines. They're like, you cannot take vacation between, June and August or September. They
That's
just flat. That is how you are. Yeah. Well, we aren't that way, but it's definitely frowned upon. And I'm thinking about turning to that, because we just can't. Here's the thing too, all through the winter, we do our damnedest and fight like hell to try to give everybody as many hours as possible. Now, here it is. It's time to go make up some of that loss that we had during the winter. We got the work for you. Here you go. I'm going to pay you well to go do it. And now you want to take a fucking vacation. Like, that's how I feel about it. It's not, it's one of those things. I get it. Like, if you've been doing this for 15 years, I get it. Like, you earn the right to take vacation whenever the fuck you want. And I would never stop you. But somebody who's brand new to the trade or has been here for, 5 years or less, when we have to go make our money, you have to earn it. You've got to earn it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It should not be something that should be something your senior guys, people that have been to you 5 years or more, that have reached a certain plateau in the company, that they've gained that right. I'll let some of the other guys, hey, if you want to take a long weekend, I'll give you a Friday or a Monday, not both.
Absolutely. I'm all for that.
And I'll even do that more than once in the summer. But only people, there's only 3 of us that can take a vacation in the summertime. And those 3 of us don't, because
right.
we understand how important it is for the business.
You're going to put a strain on the rest of the team if you take off.
Exactly. So we don't. Like me and Christina both take. We do the long weekends where we'll leave like on a Friday morning or Friday night, and then come back to work like Tuesday or Wednesday. Like
sure.
we try to make it so it's not, because at the same time, I also do get it. People have children, people want to take their kids out when they're on summer break, and
I get it. Believe me, I get it.
Yeah. But we also have to understand the industry that we're in. That's like a doctor going to take, in the middle of COVID. Hey guys, I had this cruise plan, so you know what I mean? I'm going to go on vacation.
I know the hospital's full, but fuck you guys.
I'll be back.
Going on vacation,
Obviously, we know that couldn't have happened, but we're just an analogy.
Right.
That's pretty much what this is now. Like, hey, I know you guys are busy as fuck. I mean, hey, you big companies that have, 300 fucking employees, hey, maybe you don't feel it as bad if one guy goes away for a week.
Absolutely. I'm sure, but they're also to a level of volume that I'm sure they still feel it, so I'm sure that still has to be, approved, a vacation upon approval. Like you can't just say, call in on Friday and say, yeah, I'm not coming in next week. I think I'm going to take vacation. Well, there's already shit booked for you to do next week. Now we got to call, these 10 customers and piss them off and all that kind of stuff.
You would have to give me enough notice, like 6 months, I don't want no fly by night vacation. Oh, hey, I'm not going to be here next week. Well, no, motherfucker, you're going to be here. You don't work here anymore. Like you don't do that. That's just that's cruddy. So I know that frustrations get high this time of year, and I'm seeing it in my guys, man. I'm seeing the frustrations, and that's why I try to stay on top of it. I try to stay talking to them, letting them know that I appreciate it, and even though guys that make make good money. That's why I was saying, if you buy them lunch or, one thing that I've started doing, and to be honest, I probably should have done a long time ago, is I started, adding money. Like my installers got happy because I started adding money on attic installs, throwing them an extra bonus. If they put on a media filter, I give them a little kickback, because if I sell the job, I'm making commission on all that. So this guy's got more work to do on an install, making his job harder. And it's amazing how happy that made them. Like they're all like, man, this is great. Thank you so much, Gil. Like now when you sell all this shit, I'm not like, oh great, now I gotta do a bunch of extra shit, humidifier and all this other stuff.
Right.
Even though you would think, hey, I'm giving you hours, just do your fucking job. But
we're gonna actually start that next month. $25 for every piece of equipment. So $75 are up for grabs. But it has to, pass inspection, and it has to not get any callbacks, basically.
I'm still here. I'm messing with this button, and it's
Yeah, I can't see you. It's just a black screen.
Yeah, I can't see myself here either. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I was playing buttons with my A10 Mini.
So yeah, it's I think that's going to be a good incentive for everyone to make sure that we don't have callbacks on new equipment, because it's just going to the lead guy. I'm not splitting it up between anybody. I don't want to get into that. We track someone so much crap already and give bonuses and spit for so much crap that it just makes it that much harder to try to split it up between guys. It's just going to be a flat $25. You do a coil and condenser install, that's $50 on the table for you to make, as long as we don't have callbacks and it passes inspection. So should be a good incentive to earn money, give them a chance to earn more money without having to go sell anything,
Yeah, because, some of those things for the installers aren't there like it is for the service techs. There's more opportunities. And I just think it makes those guys feel a little bit more appreciated that you give them some opportunities to make a couple of dollars, because I don't know, like, I'll get your opinion, but I used to think that I wanted installers to go in there and try to upsell, but now I don't know if I want that, because if I just sat down with a sales guy or a selling tech and we decided on a system, $12,000, and then the day they come to do it, and then this guy's like, well, you should get this humidifier and this filter. That's when I feel like you're sticking your hand back in my pockets. Like, hey, man, like, why didn't we talk about this when we sat down? Like, if I need, how come you're saying it, but this guy didn't say it? And so I don't know if I like that. I feel like if we do our job, the sales process correctly, the installer, all he should have to do is fucking install. He really shouldn't have to do anything. So I've kind of faltered in the way I feel about that.
Well, I do feel like you should have offered those things. Whether they wanted them or not, that's up to them. But if you would have offered those things, they're all going to provide a higher level of comfort for them. You offer them. Well, then at that point, if you were going to take it to the next step, you get the furnace coil torn out, go get the customer, say, could you come down for a minute here with me, Mr. KV? Come downstairs. See this right here? I noticed that I didn't see it on my invoice. I do have one in the van, but I figured now is the time. Like, if you wanted a humidifier, now would be the time to go ahead and move forward with this. I understand if you don't, but I have everything apart right now. I'm getting ready to start putting things back together. I just want to make sure before I move forward that you don't want this before I, move on. And I think, yeah, that's a sales tactic, but it's also, maybe they were on the fence. Maybe sometimes after we think about things, how many times have you left a call and go back to the call for whatever reason? Or maybe it's the first time you go back to service it after you installed it. And they're like, yeah, I wish we would have gotten the air scrubber. I wish we would have gotten the air bear filter, the electronic air cleaner. I wish we would have gotten the humidifier. So sometimes it's just a case of asking them again, are you sure while I have things apart? Because now would be the time, you could even give a discount at that time. Say, I'm not sure what he offered. I know they normally sell for $870, but for today, I do have one on the truck. If you wanted to move forward, I'd do it for, $625 or whatever.
I see. I do like that. I do. I don't mind that. I guess my thing is, not stick my foot in my mouth and backtrack. That's why when I said earlier, communication is key. And me and my whole processes. That's why I want everyone to be on the same page. If I do my job correctly, hopefully they do it then. If they don't, that's when I like the forms. Hey, offered this, customer declined. And maybe that installer shouldn't go through and pick every one. But, if he takes out the old coil and it was like, dirty or something, like either the humidifier or, hey, I know that you were offered a UV light, the same process. I do think they should pick one and maybe say something. But if it was never mentioned at the initial time of the sale, I don't want it brought up.
I can tell you one thing that's working well for us, that is basically just to focus on the equipment first, like get that out of the way. So we're not necessarily bringing up a bunch of accessories in the beginning. We're going to get the equipment out of the way. Let's make sure we get here's your different systems. Here's how they work. Which one would you like to go with this system? Yes or no? They choose the equipment, then move into, okay, now that we got that out of the way, there are some accessories. I noticed your old humidifier down there. So at one time, that thing probably did work. And I can tell you that they do a great job when they do work. But due to the age of that one, I think it'd probably be a good idea at the same time to go ahead and replace it if you, want the comfort that a humidifier can bring to your home. That's up to you. And then talk about, does anybody in the home suffer from allergy? Hopefully you've already answered or asked those questions. Any hot or cold spots? Anybody suffer from allergies? If there was anything about your system, when your system is working perfectly, I shouldn't say perfectly, when your existing system is working, is there anything about it that you would like to change? Asking these types of questions. So that way you can find out exactly what it is that they want. So you can make sure to provide that in your solutions that you offer. But I don't know. It's been working. It's been working for one of my guys really well. And I like it. I like the idea of not just throwing everything on the stack at once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because especially on a service call turned estimate. Now it's different if we're just going out flat out for an estimate. But if it's a service call turned estimate because you found a dead compressor or, a bad evaporator coil or whatever, then I think it's probably a smart idea to not just stack it all up at once.
No, but
the last thing you want is for the customer to think that you're there to sell them something. You're a service tech. You're there to fix it. So you have to be a little bit nonchalant about how you go about approaching the customer. If you've got some super fancy ass presentation, like now's not the time to break that out because you're a service tech. Now they're like, oh, well, he was prepared for this. He's just here to sell me something.
Yeah, you have credibility. Use it.
Yeah.
Because they think you're the technician. Even whether it's, no matter what I do, I still kind of treat it the same. The tech comes out at me when I do my sales process. Before I even talk numbers, my initial stage of it is going to be educating and conditioning the customer for the sale. So I'm going to talk to them, like say I go out and find a bad compressor on an old system. I'm going to go to that customer and say, after I broke the news and they know that replacement's coming, I'm going to be like, the whole sympathize. Hey, I'm sorry this happened. Is this the first time you guys have ever had to replace a system? The first time you ever purchased one before? Yes or no? I know that this is a big decision, but I'm going to give you all the facts so you guys can make the best decision for you. Please feel free. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. That's why I'm here. Then I'll talk about, how long are you going to be here? You guys going to be here for a little bit, maybe more than 5 years. Oh yeah, we're going to be here for like 10 years. Okay. Well, in my opinion, okay, I keep saying that in my opinion, then you're going to want to go with some a little bit more efficient because you're going to be here long enough to recoup the energy savings, and actually really get to feel,
enjoy the comfort.
Exactly. Yeah. I always say absorb the savings and get to enjoy the comfort of the system. And then we start taking it in different avenues. I start to answer their questions. Have you guys ever heard, what a Seer rating is? You ever heard that? Oh no. Oh, well, the Seer is the seasonal energy efficiency rating or seasonal energy efficiency ratio. Some people say it different. The minimum in our states is 14 Seer. Me, honestly, I normally tell people we only put 14 Seer like in rental properties. I wouldn't put it in the house that I'm living in. We normally try to say like 16 or above. That statement right there. So when I present the options and they start seeing that higher number and they see 16 as my cheapest option, they're looking in the middle. Guess
right.
what? My middle option.
Guess what the middle is?
Yeah, it's normally an 18 Seer an inverter system, you know what I mean? So it's conditioning the customer and you're just giving them facts. And all you guys out there saying they don't need an inverter, shut the fuck up. Yes, they do. Okay. Selling a fucking single stage fucking 14 Seer system, you might as well go out and fucking kick the customer in the nuts and take their wallet because you're committed fucking highway robbery. All right. I'll argue with that till the day that I fucking die. But yes, that's what we mean when you need to learn a sales process. It doesn't mean you're going out and you're being a fucking dirtbag. It's the psychology of knowing what to say, when to say it, how to say it. actually showing these people that you give a fuck. So I think it's fine to have a presentation planned, but don't let it look like it's planned. Okay.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Don't have like fucking cue cards and be like, hey, today I'm going to talk to you about a system. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving on. So it's, yeah.
Yeah. It's, you don't ever want to get, honestly, you weren't called there in the first place to sell anything anyways. You were there to fix a system. It just happens that the system is its life is over. So now that the life is over, I think what better time to have the technician if he's trained well enough to go ahead and move forward and start, talking about what the options are and what this new equipment, how it operates and how it works and what it can do for them. Where I know a lot of bigger business models, and we may eventually move to this business model, they turn the lead over to the sales, this comfort consultant or salesman, whatever you're calling them. So we've considered that. And I think you and I talked about this just last week or something. I know we were talking about how you ought to have to earn the right to be able to actually bid the equipment, so I don't know what that time frame looks like, but it's probably, I would say no less than 2 years. Then you probably would have to give a pretty good presentation to a team member with me watching, and then give the presentation to me also, just to prove that you know how to do it. And you're going to, make sure that you offer all the options. That way the customer can choose what they want. And, we had a sale not too long ago, and one of my guys was telling me, he's like, I saw the guy and he just knew him because he wasn't the one who sold it, but he saw him and he was like, hey, I heard you had a new system. How's it going? He's like, pretty good. Like, I mean, it takes care, it's satisfying the thermostat. I thought it would be a lot better, to be honest with you. And he's just a little disappointed. And I think the reason is that, he didn't get 2-stage or variable speed. That's the main thing. The 2-stage and the variable speed, that's what people rave about. I could tell you guys, if you're not offering that, I know Gil is way ahead of me on this, but we are definitely offering it now. And some of the things that were keeping us from offering it was maybe just not knowing the equipment enough, being a little concerned, like, can we install this professionally, or are we going to, have to spend, 3 hours on every one just trying to set the damn thing up. So there was a little hesitation, to actually sell the higher Seer stuff. Then it was, are my customers going to like it? Are they going to enjoy it? Or is it going to do what it's supposed to, what they say it does? And, what we're finding is that it absolutely does. And people absolutely love it and they rave about it. So I can tell you, I'm a convert from experience. Like, if I know you guys out there, I just talked to some guy, a gentleman that I met like last month, talked to him this week, and he was telling me, I didn't even get on to him about it because that's for another conversation, but he's like, oh yeah, I only do 14 or 16 Seer. Okay. Well, that's wrong. I know. And every time he loses a bid, he thinks it's because he's more money than the next guy. And I'm telling you, you're losing to people who are 3,000 more than you.
Yes.
Because that's what the customer wanted. Anytime you don't offer that stuff, you're making the decision for the customer.
Yeah. And you know what? Some customers, you'll go out there and they'll flat out tell you, hey man, I want base. I want the base thing.
Sure.
And hey, if that's what they want, that's what they want. But a customer who doesn't know, then you always start with the best and work your way down. You have to educate. That's why my typical sales process is almost like 2 hours. Because
I promise you, even if they come in and they hit you with that, oh, I just want the cheapest. Just give me the best deal you can. I promise you, if you go ahead and just run the process, just like you would with anybody, more times than not, they're going to pick something higher than the cheapest.
Oh, yeah. Because when somebody says that to me, I'm going to ask them a whole bunch of questions to see if I get the same answer. Well, why do you want the cheapest? Oh, I'm only going to be here for like 2 years. Oh, did you guys already find a place? Where are you going? Well, we haven't found a place, but that was our plan. Well, things happen. What if you stay here 5 years? What if you're here 6 years? Aren't you going to wish maybe you bought something a little better, not something just to get by? Yeah, well, and then the wife start talking. Well, remember, we haven't totally decided that we're going to go in 2 years. You know what I mean? Then you just start opening up conversations, I mean, trust me, I've been in this and I know how to throw that fucking monkey wrench into the mix.
Or the wife says, we're not going nowhere.
Yeah, you've been saying that for 20 years, Jim.
Exactly. So
it's, and then you gotta, I always like to ask customers, have you ever truly felt comfortable in your house? And I always say, before you answer, I don't mean hot or cold, but comfortable to where, you weren't sticky, you weren't itchy, you felt like you could take a deep breath and, a couple of little different things that I say. And some people are like, no, like I always feel like the unit's cooling, but there's always this. Then they start talking about what's wrong. They are selling themselves a new system. When I do sales, the best sales I have is when I talk to least. And that's hard for somebody like me with a big mouth.
That's got to be like hard for you.
Yeah. The least if I get them talking about how bad their existing system is, and then I start saying, well, you know what? Remember when you just said you had this problem? Oh, well, this can fix that. And that other thing you were talking about, oh, we can add this and take care of that. Then all of a sudden I'm like, we put those together and I try to build variations of that. And then they're like, I'm like, oh, well, everything we said, if you want to get, go with the best and, the 10-year parts and labor warranty, we're going to be, 16.5. They're like, well, man, I didn't know we were going to be that much. I'm like, well, I know it's a lot of money, but, what if I did 0% for 60 months and your payment was only, $225? Can you do $225 a month? Well, I could probably do that. Or if they say no, well, okay, here's my next one, and I'm not gonna sit here and just go through and try to preach at you guys, but just, there's a reason that people talk about processes. And trust me, I used to be that guy that think that I could reinvent the wheel. Guess what? You can't. Okay. You can't. There's no reason to. There's so many processes out there that work perfectly. You don't need to. Just learn proven processes, put them in place. And guys, you're fucking golden, man. It really is that simple. Well, I don't want to say it's that simple, but
yeah. I believe that it was Tom Hopkins. What you were just saying, you're trying to find the pain points because people buy emotionally. And also don't get caught up in, there's just the difference between features and benefits. Features are, it's a 2-stage gas valve, or it's a variable speed fan motor, or it's it's got the stainless steel heat exchanger. Like that, those are all features. Nobody gives a shit about features, except for us, the technicians. We think that shit's cool because we understand it. The customer doesn't care. The customer wants to know the benefits. So what does that 2-stage gas valve do for the customer? What's the benefit of the 2-stage gas valve? That's what you want to talk about. Oh, it's long, even heating cycles. And with this 2-step compressor or this variable speed compressor, it's long, even cooling cycles. It's kind of like highway driving versus in-town driving, which gets better gas mileage. Then that makes sense to them.
If it doesn't make them more comfortable or save them money, they don't care.
Yeah. So, the variable speed, the compressor blanket, the 850 RPM motor versus the 1075, like, okay, well, that's going to be quiet. We know the features are that it has this special fan blade and it has a motor that runs slower, but the benefit is that it's quieter for the customer. So you get what I'm saying with that. But Tom Hopkins, famous sales trainer, you might check out. He's got a really great video that I watched like 4 or 5 times. I'll try to share that in the group the morning that this podcast is released. But once you find that pain point, you want to make sure to keep pushing on it if you have a solution for it. So the example that he gives is he's showing a home. He was a real estate agent showing a home, and he walks into the kitchen, and right out the window in the backyard, the wife of the couple that he was showing the home to says, "Oh, look at that cherry tree. I used to have one of those in my backyard when I was a kid. We used to play in it all the time." So this is kind of the opposite of that. It's not a pain point, but that's a good memory, right? That's a good memory.
Trigger.
So a trigger. So then you keep pushing that trigger, flipping the trigger, pushing the button. So he would walk into the next room. Oh, here's the living room. And if you look to the left, you can see out and you can see that cherry tree out there. They're going to get to the master bedroom. Here's the master bedroom. Thankfully it's on the side, same side as the backyard. And there's that cherry tree again. Like he kept pointing it out to him. And he's just tying that emotional trigger to that woman. What do you know? They bought the house. So once you find something, and it could be noise, could be that they're tired of grilling outside and they got to yell at each other to talk when they have friends over. Maybe it's noise. Like, I see. I noticed that you guys cook outside a lot. I noticed that nice, if I was at Gil's house, I'd be like, I know what the hell are you cooking on there, dude? Like, that's awesome. Like, you grill a lot? Do you ever have friends over, or is you just grilling for the family?
No,
I'm going to, so get to know, what are they doing out there? Maybe Gil has friends over all the time. And this 13 Seer, this 10 Seer piece of shit that's a rattle trap, the difference between an 18 Seer versus a 14 Seer is going to be significant on, how many decibels it is. Like, it's going to be louder than the 18 Seer. So that could be the thing. That could be the benefit that he actually wants and really enjoys. So you got to find that, because once that customer spends an extra $3,000, $4,000 to buy that system just because it's quiet, because that was their pain point and you just solved it, dude, it's not about the money. It's about what they want. And when you give them what they want and solve that pain point, raving fan customer for life.
And some people don't know what they want because they don't know what we know. It is our job to bring. Most people, they think they clean their air by changing that 1-inch filter every month or every fucking 6 months. They don't know if they have a gas furnace, that they should have a humidifier that is going to protect the hardwood floors that they just spent a shitload of money, or those fancy cabinets they put in their kitchen, that humidifier is going to save all that. Okay. It's going to not make the floors separate or pop. All these things that you have to, like I said, if it's going to save them money or make them more comfortable, most people will do it. Or they're going to do some variation of it. And especially some people will hesitate to spend their money, but they're not afraid to spend somebody else's money. That's where financing comes in. And that's where I tell you the 0% is really fucking huge to me. And I'll be honest, if I didn't have that, I kind of question if I'd be able to close some of these deals, especially with this day and age, with the way the economy is. That is huge for people. And I don't just throw it out there from the get-go. I kind of hold that card in my back pocket after I give those numbers. Obviously, I already have that figured in, accounted for, But when you give them that real high number and it's like, and especially when they see, oh, well, it's only $25 difference between getting the Cadillac and then this one. Well, yeah, so extra $25 a month and you guys are golden. Yeah, no, that's true. So that's when we have to do our job, and we're not being a dirty salesman. We're being good at our fucking job. Guys, yesterday I was on fucking fire. Like I told Kelley, 3 jobs I actually did. 2 were jobs I had done previously, but they came through. I closed them over the phone by following up. Okay. Follow up is fucking huge. We could do a whole podcast. I could do a whole podcast on following up. 5 deals and the service work that I did yesterday totaled up to $124,000 in fucking one day.
That's insane.
Dude, guy, I was working yesterday with a fucking chubby. Like I'm walking in the fucking house just having to tuck my boner and smiling. And like I made a video and put it in the Facebook group. And guys, I don't say that. I'm not one of the people. I don't come in the group and say that to beat my chest. Like, oh, look at me. I just want guys to know that that's possible. Me and Kelley want to celebrate your accomplishments. Me and Kelley want to see people do well. That's why we do this. Why the fuck do you think we do this podcast? And like I said last night, it's not for the money. Okay. Me and Kelley spend more money than we make. At least I know I do. Kelly's always like, what are you buying now, Gil?
Yeah.
It's,
no, it's definitely not about the money. We do it to help you guys. And the only thing that we ever ask of you is to go to your favorite podcast app, leave us a review. That means the world to us. I've got 3 reviews that I'd like to read real quick that are at least somewhat new, but we need some new reviews. That's why we're asking. February 7th. We have not read these for a while. So February 7th this year, excellent podcast. Gil and Kelley are industry veterans who know what they're talking about and provide great info from owners to techs. Thank you, Mike Telsla.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, man. Great information, easy to listen to, relatable, and great information for the business owner down to the apprentice in the trade. Keep the content coming. Thank you, Chris Ostrander.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
That was the wrong bumper.
Merry Christmas, Chris. Merry Christmas. That was back during Christmas time when he left that review, actually. So
I knew that.
The last one, excellent advice. I really enjoy this podcast. The personal experiences they have is invaluable for those who are new to the trade. Thank you, amateur madmen.
Yes. Thank you, man. Guys, you really don't realize how much me and Kelley appreciate your feedback to us. That's why we do this. Like we say, it's not for the fucking money. It's for those emails that we get when somebody says, hey man, I did what you guys were talking about and this happened. Or you know what? You guys were so right. I started doing this every day and then this happened. Thank you. That's the fucking payoff, man. That makes me feel great to be able to change somebody else's life in a positive way. It's awesome. Like I want to see other people succeed. And guys, there's a lot of people out there that they say they want to see you succeed, but guess what? They don't. If it doesn't benefit them, you can go fuck yourself. And that's truly the way they are. And hopefully I'm not going to sit here and, it's not my place to tell you, we're all fucking adults. You need to figure that out for yourself. But I can guarantee you that me and Kelley are genuinely trying to help people. Anybody who's known us, who's listened to this podcast for any long period of time knows that we don't want anything from you. Okay. I'm not going to ask you to fucking, we have the merchandise only because you.
Yeah, I may share my new course, my latest course whenever it comes out, or if I write another book someday, I might share that. I'll definitely share it with you. The whole reason I spend the time to do that shit is to help people.
But Kelley's time is our time is valuable, just like your time is valuable. So obviously that's why we thank you, because we appreciate the time that you take to listen to our podcast or watch our live streams or post in our Facebook group, etc. But the same for us, guys. So that's why we do the sponsorships for the podcast, for the time that we do put in that we could be with our families or working on our business. That little bit of money that makes back makes it easier for us to be able to do something that we love to do to help other people. Like Kelley, when he builds his courses, he could be worrying about his business. Okay, but he takes the time.
I should be worrying about my business, but I want to, I'm not trying to be a savior, but for those who reach out and want to find something to help them who are worthy and they actually want to build a business, like I want to have something there for them. Because I didn't have it when I was coming up. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the energy. And it's a miserable place to be. So that trauma that I went through set me off on a mission. Like I'm on a mission to help people in pain in their business, because there is a better way. So, but yeah, I'm passionate about it. I could talk forever. And believe me, it's not about the money. It's not. But I know for a fact that if you don't pay for something, and this comes with anything you get in life, if you don't pay for it, then you don't value it. So you got to pay for stuff, and that way you can value it, and you'll actually go through it and learn it, and take the advice given and apply it. It's the only way.
That's true. I agree with that.
All right. So I think we've rabbled on long enough, and we actually went long, or at least an hour, if not a little longer. And we didn't really plan on going this long tonight because we are both tired. It's been, we're in the middle. We're not quite halfway through the marathon yet here. Yeah. We've got a little ways to go. And
guys,
we got a lot of hot weather still to come.
Yeah. Sorry, but, and guys and gals, remember, me and Kelley, we're in the trenches with you guys. You know what I mean? Like we're out there with you guys. So please, if you can bear with us this time of year, that, if we don't get a podcast up one Monday, or we're not able to get a live stream out, I'm still in the field sometimes, a lot here lately, having to do stuff because we're trying to, capture every call like we talked about earlier. Or if not, I'm in the office, and office work is just as important, trying to grow the business. Kelley's in there trying to make sure that people are doing what they got to do and, stay in their lane.
I'm building an operations manual, dude. It is draining. Like nobody will understand it. Cause I was the same way when you're hustling in the field, and dude, I used to do it. I did it for 22 years. I worked my ass off. I could work till 10 o'clock at night, come home, take a shower, crash, get up at 7, go do it again, day in, day out. I could do that. But I'm here to tell you that that's physical. This is mental, but your brain, it takes an enormous amount of energy to go try to focus on something for 2 hours. Yeah, well, see how fucking drained you are after just 2 hours of just focusing on something. It is draining.
Prime example of when I'm in the office for a long time, what do? I go back out in the field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
Don't think because somebody's in the office, like they got it some cakewalk, because trust me, it's not.
I know, and I agree with Coral when she was on the podcast. Like every technician should have a day where he just spends a day in the office and gets to sit with the dispatcher and the CSR and just to see all the shit that happens throughout the day. And
you will be begging to get back in your van. Can I please get back out absolutely tomorrow?
Exactly. You'll hate it, but you'll have a newfound respect for what these people do every day.
Yeah, we just want you guys to remember that, me and Kelley, when we talk about things, we come from a place because we've been there, we've done it, we do it. We're out there with you. we are just like you guys, except we put a microphone in front of us. And please don't ever forget that. By no means do we think that we are different than any of you guys out there. There's some of you guys that are more successful than me and Kelley.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you know more about certain topics than we do. Yeah, we know that. That's why we want to talk to you guys, because it's invaluable being able to learn from all these different people. So, and that's why we love your feedback once again. So we'll start to close this out. If you guys didn't know, it's kind of frustrating. We had another cancellation tonight from someone who canceled the last minute and rescheduled, which is kind of a pain in the fucking ass. That person listens, don't really care. If you cancel again, we're not going to podcast with you, but I'm just going to throw that out there. So we thought we had a guest tonight. So at the last minute, we had to just me and him. So we figured we'd just go on and kind of ramble tonight. And we hope you guys got some good out of it. Just talking about things that are going on with us. And because we do what you guys do, we know that a lot of you guys are facing the same issues, having the same problems. So we hope that this helps you guys.
I'm a service tech turned business owner. So I'm a brand new business owner. I was a service tech for far more of my career than I have been a business owner. So without question, I've got, I'm going to have to put in another 20 years of running the business without running calls and doing service to catch up to myself. So believe me, I know exactly what everybody's going through. I've been through 22 summers. And every summer, I worked my ass off. And so I get it. Just hang in there, pace yourself, get plenty of rest on the weekends, drink plenty of fluids, go jump in the truck if you get overheated.
Pace yourself, honey. You got to
pace it. Yeah. What did she say? Did you show him your cock and balls? To Adam Sandler. Yeah. You remember that? Just have him play with your cock and balls. Anyhow, guys, I hope that you're having a great summer. And something that Tony Robbins says, he says, the meeting of preparation with opportunity generates the offspring we call luck. So I hope you're having some luck this summer. I hope the sales are coming easy and you're stacking the money in the bank account. And if you're not stacking money in the bank account, I'm talking 20, 25, 30, 35% net during these months, then you need to probably raise your rates during these months, because we have to get the money while it's there. It's unfortunate that HVAC businesses own or earn, I should say, anywhere from 70, I would say anywhere from 60 to 80% of their total annual income, through May, June, July, August. So those 4 months, the majority of us are making the most money, almost 80% of our money in those 4 months. So be sure you're making it. If you're not making it, I'm telling you, when the work slows down, you will run out of money. So you got plenty of time now in the summer to change that. Just try it. Next time you get on a call and you go to do something, and if you're even questioning, like, maybe I'm too cheap, add $500 to the next install. Like, you don't need it anyways. You got plenty of work. You got 10 other service calls to go do that will produce more installs and more bids. Add $500 to it. See what happens. I guarantee it's going to blow your mind, because people need it today. They needed it yesterday. They'll pay for it. And we have to earn the money while we can. This is reality.
Know your value. Right now, the sense of urgency is there. And when it goes away, guess what? Shit's going to change.
And it's not gouging in any way. It's flat out, this is our industry. We can't force people to call us when it's 65 degrees out to change their systems. Nobody's thinking about replacing systems when it's 65 degrees out, which is why the phone stopped ringing. So, create your own luck. He also says that luck is an acronym that stands for labor under correct knowledge. So just remember that. Be wise. don't be afraid to ask for a little more for your service calls and your installs, because you need to collect as much money right now so we don't go through. What if they shut the country down again? What if there's no more stimulus money? Like, you better be stacking your money right now. Don't be making stupid decisions with it. Don't be, earning a bunch of money and going and buying yourself a new boat or a new car. Or, like, the chances of the country shutting down again are just climbing every day. So you've better be prepared for it. You have the perfect opportunity to prepare for it, and it's time to do it now.
And I'm glad Kelley said that, because we always talk about your financial, actually building wealth. We're going to have a podcast. I'm going to bring probably my brother on at some point. And he's going to help give you guys some financial tips, tell you places that you can put your money, to help let your money make money for you. Because I do think a lot of guys make all this money in the summertime. You live high on the hog, and then, you're living week to week. Guys, we got to think bigger. We got to think of the big picture. Okay. Anyway, we'll have that podcast. We'll address that topic. But
nature always lasts laugh.
Yep.
And when I say nature, it could be the virus. It could be your body breaking down. It could be a numerous things. Could be a storm that comes, wipes out your, a tornado sucks your van away with all your tools and everything. Like, nature's like, it's going to happen. It can happen. So I'm an optimist most of the time. I'm always trying to think positive. Most of you guys know me. I'm always trying to think positive, but it's not that I don't use a little pessimism, not to put fear in myself, but to just make sure that I do my best to try to cover my tracks and cover the ground to make sure that I'm somewhat prepared for the unknown, because the unknown can always happen to us, just like it just did. And I wasn't prepared this time, but I'm in a position, thankfully, to not only have survived it, but now have this opportunity laid in front of me to thrive because of it and to prepare myself for the next one. So I hope you guys are preparing, because it could happen. It absolutely could happen. Don't be naive enough to think that they're not going to do it again. So, all right, guys, love you. Be sure to go subscribe, download the podcast. Be sure to leave us a review, and take care of yourselves. Love you guys. Gil, take care of yourself. Love you, man. Appreciate you. And whatever you do, just be safe and go make money. Now's the time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I appreciate you too, buddy. Love you too, brother. Real fast. My brother used to always tell me, he always says, work for today to pay for tomorrow. Don't be one of those people where it's, live for today, fuck tomorrow. Think about your future, whether it's physically, financially, all that kind of stuff. But guys, we know that this is go time. This is the time. This is our bread and butter. This is our time of year that we're all, balls to the wall, fucking making money. We're stressed out. It's frustrating. It's going to be okay. All right. I'm just going to put it that way. It's going to be okay. Most of us this isn't our first rodeo. If it is, guess what? You're going to be okay. All right. You'll get through it. And when it slows down and you're not getting those big checks, you're like, man, fuck, I'm missing summer now. It's a vicious cycle. Summer comes around every year, and guess what? It ends every year. Just as fast as it comes in and kicks you in the balls, it kind of slams your fingers on the floor.
It runs away giggling.
Yeah. So we're going to be all right. Okay. Definitely please be safe. I'm not going to ramble too much tonight, man. We appreciate you guys so much. I want you guys to know that merchandise should be in the end of the week. I got one box of some stuff. The other stuff says it'll be here tomorrow. I want to thank you for all the pre-orders that came in. I really, really appreciate you guys. I cannot thank you guys enough. The stuff turned out awesome. Yeah, I guess I'm not going to ramble, man. Sorry that it gets canceled tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. We do have some good guests coming up, and hopefully, get back to business as long as we're not out there working our dicks in the dirt like you guys. But we'll figure it out. But like I say every week, man, be safe out there. Always make it home the same way you left. All right. Be smart in that hot attic. Go down for a little bit. All right. Don't stay up there till you feel like you're going to pass out. Think about that beforehand. Go up there in spurts. Stay hydrated. Do what the next guy's not doing. Okay. This is the time of the year that the money is there to be made. Don't be afraid to say, hey, has anybody ever offered this? Hey, you need this. Because that customer might say, man, that's awesome. I would love to do that. Now the ball is in our court. Okay. It really is. The ball's in our court to go fucking slam dunk it every fucking time. And if you don't, it's because you chose not to. All right. So yeah, be safe out there. Like I said, I love you motherfuckers, man. And until next week, we'll talk with you mofos later. All right. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram, or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.
Boom shakalaka. All right, buddy. Go to bed, man. Let me stop this recording.